Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, The Ins and Outs of Selling a Business. So on today's episode, we're going to continue our discussion with Mark Rollins. With him, he and his brother sold their company back in 2013, I think. And we talked last episode about all the emotional aspect of the transaction and getting from starting to some mishaps to hiring an advisor to the eventual sale to the right party. And a lot has happened since the sale. I mean, you have quite an accomplished life post selling the company. You started a company with your wife called Retirement Transformed to help other, not just business owners, but people entering that next phase of life with that transition process to a happy, fulfilled life post, their first career. And then you wrote a book, The Evolving Man. So you've been very active, and it's really exciting. And it sounds like you and Jody are having a wonderful time together. And I'd love to talk a little bit about, I'm sure it wasn't all roses when you first retired. I'd love to kind of get a feel from, you gave your papers, I'm retiring, and everybody had the party, and you're off after 40 years or so in the business. How did you feel initially about this transition?
Well, first of all, they never threw a party.
They didn't throw a party? No. Oh, we got to go back.
Well, listen, we sold in 2013. I was going to stay, on the last episode, I was going to stay for 10 years.
Right.
And after 3 years, I was burnt out. So I made a pivot. I was going to still stay 10 more years. But, things happened, and I just kind of run out of steam. Jody was going through the same thing in her job, running out of steam. Things had changed for her company because her company was bought. So December of 2018, we walked out last day, Friday, December 28th in 2018. And, I actually had been semi-retired since January, and she had as well. And naturally, we ran into trouble. We really had a tough beginning to our retirement.
Because you're kind of working, but you're kind of not working. So...
Yeah. Well, as I said, when I stepped down from running the office, I became irrelevant. I wasn't that important anymore. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I was coming in late and going home early. And honestly, I was going home at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I was opening a bottle of wine and waiting for Jody because she was still working. And I actually fell in love with daytime TV, Ellen, Oprah, and I was having my nice glass of Pinot Noir. And then I'd fall asleep, and then Jody would come in. I'd hear the door open up. She'd come up, and I'd say, "Hey, hi, how are you? How was your day? Great. How was yours?" Oh, I was busy all day at work. Oh, gosh, I had appointments. And it was really, I was lying to her and to myself. And when we knew it was time to go, and we left. And we did probably what a lot of people do is we traveled. For a year we traveled. And the problem with what we did was we ate lousy, we didn't exercise, we drank too much, we got very unhealthy, and realized something had to change or we were going to kill ourselves.
Got it. So you looked at each other and you said, what was the trigger point? Like, how did you say, you came into like, I want to start a company. I want to realize my experiences and how to help people not do some of the things I did so they have a fulfilled life after they leave their job or sell their company. How did that all come about?
Well, I thought I would stay in the insurance business and be a consultant or an advisor because that's all I knew. But I think all humans have an inner voice in them that they tend to quiet. And this is the voice that says, you should write a book. You should start a new company. You should step away from insurance and start a retirement business. And these voices are there and they're true, and you have to feel them and you have to nurture them and write about them, and then they come to life. Because if you don't, what happens is you're retired, you don't know what to do all day, you end up getting unhealthy, and you're going to die way before your time. And I believe that our careers, everyone, including you, this is getting you ready for what you're really meant to do in life. And we don't know what that is. I always thought I was meant to be a good insurance broker, and I was good at it.
Right.
But then I left, and I got in trouble, and everything was wrong. And I started to listen to the inner voice, and I birthed a business. out of nowhere. Jody and I started to take better care of ourselves. We exercised. We got into nutrition. We started drinking less. And people started to notice the change. God, you guys look great. You're losing weight. You're happier together. What are you doing? Can you help me? So we started to coach a couple people, and then it turned into a business, Retirement Transformed. And we've been doing that now for 5 years.
So you have Retirement Transformed, and it keeps on evolving, right? You have a YouTube channel, and you have, I don't know how many subscribers, but a ton. And you guys are out there giving, advice, not just on retirement, but just on life itself, on your own experiences. So how did that kind of happen? I mean, because you can get, you're not a psychiatrist, you're not a psychologist, you're not a therapist. You're just two people that are enjoying themselves and trying to share your experience of how to be a better you, right? How did that, I mean, to me, it's fascinating. I've watched your episodes, and I see you, around town, and you just feel good about things and a positive attitude. And it's like a lot of friends of mine or peers that have retired, they're kind of grumpy, right? And they're not really happy about where they are, and they don't really have kind of a rudderless, you would say. So how did you get on some of these topics to talk about? I mean, where did you guys just kind of brainstorm, or how did that all kind of transpire? Because it is a very interesting, you got workbooks, you have workshops, you have videos, you have the whole bit going, and it's just, it kind of evolved into this company.
Well, when we first retired, we ran into trouble, and we started Googling retirement roadmaps, how to live a healthy retirement, how to live a better retirement.
Right.
And all that came up, 99.9% of the Google searches came up with financial planners.
Right.
And we didn't need that. We had one. So we couldn't find what we were looking for. We couldn't find a path that was out there. So we created one for ourselves, and we built tools and a course around physical wellness, mental wellness, relationships, because when you leave your business, you leave behind hundreds, if not thousands, of relationships that are important. Our relationship as a married couple, it's not that easy when you're both working and you see each other for 4 hours a night to all of a sudden be with each other for 24 hours a day. And then the fifth pillar of our business, so to speak, is giving back, is wisdom sharing, taking all the wisdom and experience that we had and accumulated and use that for the greater good. And that's where I think a lot of people get stuck. They don't know what to do with everything they've accumulated. My dad took all of his wisdom, put it in a box, tied a bow around it, put it on the shelf in the garage, and he never did anything with everything that he knew. It was so sad. So this time, Jody and I are like, we can do this. And like you said, we're not a doctor, we're not a lawyer, we're not psychologists, but we have a lot of experience in life. We have a lot of experience bringing up kids. We have a lot of experience in failing in retirement and now succeeding in retirement. So we share all of that, everything non-financial.
Interesting. So your community of, I want to say, not retirees, but people, in their next chapter, enjoying their successes and finding other interests and recreating who they are personality-wise or identities. And what are some of the things that people, when they come to you and they say, hey, Mark, I need help, I'm lost. What are some of the, what would you say were like a couple of the key factors that people come to you like where they are unhappy?
Well, there's 3 or 4 things that happen to you when you sell your business and then ultimately move into this retirement phase. You lose all of this huge community that was so important to you.
Right.
And you've got to rebuild that. People don't know how to do that. They sit home, they watch TV. The average number of hours people over the age of 65 spend watching TV each week is 38 hours.
Wow.
That's a full-time job.
Exactly.
You're not going to meet people watching 38 hours of TV. So there's that. Then there's this whole issue of the 40-plus hours of time that come your way. What am I going to fill that with? Well, if you don't know, you're going to end up watching TV. And then there's your identity. I was always the CEO of the Rollins agency. I was that for 40 years, and that's what I was known as. I needed to find – I was also a husband and a father, And that stayed true and true, but there's more to life than being just that, I think. So this is the risks that come with selling your company and retiring, and you got to find a way to get through them and recreate a life for yourself that has meaning and purpose.
So you and Jody, you spend a lot of time, bouncing things off each other, right? And let's talk about this today and how this is going to work. And it's various topics, right? Not necessarily about how to better your retirement, just life stuff, right? So we got this wonderful following, and it's growing, and you're excited about it, and it gets you up in the day, and you're excited for the day. Not sure what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. And then as you're going through this stage and this wonderful new business, then you say, oh, you know what? I need to write a book, right? And you write this book, The Evolving Man. And how did that come about? Because it's a very deep book about various emotions related mainly to men, of course. And, well, full disclosure, I contributed. I was on the email chains, and every week you had a new topic. I'm like, wow. Some of them I didn't respond to, honestly, because I just know how to respond to them. But a lot of them, it got me thinking, right? It really got me thinking about various grieving, empathy, you name it, right? I mean, there was, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 topics that you sent out this weekly email, not knowing what it's going to be. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, I sit back because I'm in my office. I'm like, I got a whole another side of my brain's working. So how did this whole thing come about?
Well, the book was born out of a conversation I had with a publisher. And Jody and I were talking to this publisher, and we asked her how we could write a book on retirement transformed. And she said, well, that's easy. Mark, you write a third of the book on your journey up until now. Jody writes a third of the book on her journey up until now. And the last third, you just talk about your 5 pillars and retirement transformed and all of that. And that's how you do it. Mm-hmm. And then she paused and said, but I see each of you writing a different book first. And I said, oh, tell me more. So she and I had a deep discussion about my beliefs and, my values. And what came out of it was she said, you should write a book for men. You should give them a comfortable place to go through a process of learning and evolving to make their lives better. And that's how the concept was born. And I just hired her and started writing.
And here it is.
It's
a great book. So feedback you get from some of the folks that contributed to the book, and after reading it, how's that been?
Well, it's interesting because the book was launched March 1st of this year, and it's done really, really well. And not only with men, but with women. They love reading it. And I think one of the reasons why the book is doing so well is because of my maybe newfound vulnerability, or it's just been peaked a little bit. So there are 18 life virtues in the book. Mm-hmm. First one is listening, vulnerability, compassion, love, kindness, ego, legacy. All the things that men and women think about, particularly in retirement now, like what will people remember me as? Jody has this great saying that our tombstone has the date we were born and the date that we died. And it's the dash that's our life story. Now, when I retired in 2018, my obituary was full. I was fine. But if I didn't do anything for the next 30 years, that's all really old news. So having a legacy is really important. So the book is filled with a lot of my life stories, like a lesson about vulnerability that I had in my life. And then, as you said, I had 70 men that responded to my weekly email about 4 journaling questions. So so some of those comments are in there. The reader gets to answer the questions themselves. And then at the end of the chapter, there's a challenge. How do you become a better listener? What are the benefits of being a better listener? And vulnerability and love and kindness, compassion, ego, empathy. So it's all the things that we all think about as humans, but we don't really work on them all the time. And now with time, we have time to work on them.
Yeah, and time. I mean, I was reading an article when they enacted Social Security back in 38, I think, or 35, the life expectancy was like 62. Right now, it's like you have friends who unfortunately pass at 75, so they die too young, right? You have, if you take the rich, you have a good 15, 20-year run. So putting that work in to have a fulfilled life after quote unquote work life is important. And I think too, our business owners listening out there today, I think one thing really said is the vulnerability factor, right? Is something that they're will make them procrastinate or avoid that decision to sell because they don't know what's going to happen next, and they have pretty much been in control of their own destiny, whether good or bad or indifferent. They've ran their businesses and they make the final call,
right.
And now that call is going away. So that vulnerability leads to a fear factor that I'm no longer going to be in control, but you are in control. You can, as you're saying with retirement transfer, with this book, you can take control of your life with your next chapter of what you want to do and how you it takes work, but how you do it is going to make you as fulfilled, if not more fulfilled than you were when you had your business.
Well, the YouTube channel is filled with ideas and strategies on how to live a more fulfilling retirement. So that we do that. We've 1 or 2 videos each week. So we're always brainstorming, thinking, what's on our mind? What are we doing? This book takes it a level further where you actually can sit down and start to work on yourself as a person. Almost want to read the last chapter first, which is the legacy chapter, to really start to think, what do I want to do for the next 20, 30, or 40 years? I'm 67. I'm going to live to 100. That's 33 more years.
It's a lifetime.
It's another lifetime. My career was 38.
Right.
And I think of all that I did. So now 33 years, I mean, Jody and I are doing everything that we need to do to live longer and, more importantly, healthier longer. I mean, I was at the gym this morning at 4:30. I never went to the gym during my whole career, ever. I was never an athlete. But I do that because I know if I do that 5 days a week, I'm going to be physically independent at the age of 90. I am not going to have a walker. I'm not going to have a cane. I'm not going to be in a wheelchair. So
Right.
I'm doing everything for my body with that, nutrition, journaling, meditating, things that I always just laughed at. But these are all the things we can do now to make our life more full and more fun and happier and engaging. And you know what? I go to bed early at night, and I start getting excited around 8 o'clock because I know I'll be asleep by 9. And I have tomorrow to look forward to. I live each day, not like it's my last, but like today, to be here with you is a blessing. I love this. I was so excited last night when I went to bed saying, I get to do this tomorrow.
We're happy you're here. I mean, so you and Jody obviously have created a wonderful next chapter. I don't even call it retirement. It's just a lifestyle.
We need to change the word and eliminate the word retirement.
It sounds like so final, right? It's like finality to the word retirement. I'm done, right? But you're not. You've created this whole lifestyle post your other career, let's call it, right? And here you are. Is there any 1 or 2 takeaways that you can share with our audience today about things that are important to really think about, as you transition from one part of your life to the next part of your life? What would, if you could give someone advice today sitting across the table from you, what would you say to them when they're conflicted about that decision?
Well, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, we spend a lot of time planning. Right? We plan our days, our weeks, our months, our years, 5-year increments, depending upon your business. Hardly anybody, puts any effort into planning for retirement. It's all about, in this case, the sale. I'm going to sell the company. I'll be financially independent. And then I can just take it easy. And it's true, you can take it easy. And Jody and I don't work a lot of hours each week. We play golf, we play pickleball, we go to the gym. We do a lot of fun stuff, but we do this too. And so it's kind of this lifestyle piece mixed in with some giving back that gives us the most wonderful life that you can imagine. But it takes work and planning. So the biggest thing that I would say for people as they're selling their company or entering retirement is to create a plan. Not a financial plan, but a life plan. And you've never done it before, right? I mean, who
No one
does
thinks
that?
about it. No one thinks about it. They think about retirement and plan. They think about financial planning, right?
Well, they think about sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas because that's what we're told.
True.
All
Or
the
golf.
financial commercials on TV, that's what they show you. That's not what retirement's meant to be. That's old school. This is a time to really grow and learn and turn into the human being you were meant to be. I know it sounds a little like, really? It's that way if you approach it that way. But if you don't, honestly, I think you could run into trouble and you're going to shorten your life and you're going to cheat your wife or your husband or your kids of this person who can become the greatest grandfather ever, the greatest book writer ever, the greatest coach ever. But you have to put some effort in and believe that that's what you were meant to do.
Well, Mark, I got to say, you and Jody have done an amazing job of really working hard at this phase of your life. It's been 4 years since we were last together, and what you've accomplished in those 4 years is truly unbelievable and rewarding and exciting. And I love to hear it. Our audience loves to hear it. And I really want to thank you for being with us again today. It's been great. I'll hopefully not have you back, wait another 4 years. Hopefully before then, have you back, talk about some things, other things you're doing, because it's an evolving process. And it has been a wonderful story. And thank you for being here today.
Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor, and I think we should just keep going. We don't have to stop, do we? But if we do have to
I still
stop,
gotta go to work.
If we have to stop, I would love to come back. I think there's so much more people can learn and hear about this phase of life, how wonderful it can be.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely have you back. We'll pick a couple subject matters, do kind of a case study, and kind of run through it, and give our listeners a little more insight into how retirement transform works, and maybe some read out of your book and things along those lines.
Great.
But thank you for being here. It's been great.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. Again, my name's kdee. Hope you enjoyed our podcast, The Ins and Outs of Selling a Business. If so, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. To learn more about Osage Advisors and how we help business owners sell their companies, you can visit our website at osageadvisors.com. You can email me at kdee@osageadvisors.com or give me a call at 860-767-3273, extension 1001. Thanks again for being with us, and have a great day.